Let's be honest, we all watched the Black Ops 7 trailer and said, wow, that looks like a steaming hot pile of shit. However, not even that long after the trailer was absolutely bombarded with dislikes and hate comments, the Call of Duty page on social media came out with an important announcement. And in the announcement, there was just one part that particularly caught my eye, and that is the carry forward section. Now, I won't read all this to you because I trust you all know how to read, but Call of Duty simply stated that they will no longer continue with the carry forward of the wacky skins, which all you have to do is look into the game store for Black Ops 6 or Warzone and you'll know exactly which ones won't carry forward. Either way, that's old news now, but wait. What do you mean you want the carry forward of wacky skins to continue? Didn't we just complain about it in the Black Ops 7 trailer comment section and even before then? So after seeing that, that's when a question popped up into my head, and that is, why can't gamers agree on microtransactions? Now let me start off by saying, of course, there's always going to be counter arguments against literally anything you say and do, but I want to take a look into these different categories of gamers when it comes to the use and purchase of cosmetics in games. And from what I understand, there's three categories that I have made up from this. There is the cosmetic collector, the hypocrite, and the casual. After looking into these categories, I want to see what other factors come into play when it comes to the views on cosmetics. First off, we have the cosmetic collector. The name pretty much explains itself, but let me put it this way. Think about Arby's or Long John Silver's. You're driving through some random neighborhood on your way to pick up a Rigby Funko Pop off of Facebook Marketplace, and you spot one of these places still open. And you're just sitting there like, how the hell are they still in business? I've never seen anyone eat there. I've never heard anyone admit to eating there twice. The answer? It is those 12 mystery customers who keep going back again and again and again. That is the cosmetic collector in a nutshell. They're the reason every ridiculous skin in Call of Duty makes money. The same can be said about other companies that make weird skins, but Call of Duty is a good example as a game that shouldn't be making dumb skins. I have nothing to bash Fortnite for because that game was made for random skins, and the cosmetic collector doesn't just buy one or two cosmetics, they buy everything. They're pretty much the game company's piggy bank, and they're why the game store looks like a Spirit Halloween. And hey, no shade, that's just who they are. Next up, we got the hypocrite. And honestly, this one hits me a little too close to home because I recognize someone who is one of them. Oh wait, that's me. I'm the hypocrite. So the hypocrite is the gamer who will seriously complain about skins all the time, and then 15 minutes later, guess who's in the store looking at that new $20 bundle that was added? Almost like it was calling their name or something. And not only does the hypocrite just look at it, but they'll fall for the trap and end up buying it. The hypocrite tends to buy a couple of skins and then, just stop buying them because they're somewhat true to their words. Or if there is a Milsim skin, they'll probably buy that. And I ain't gonna lie, we are the worst kinds of gamers because we talk a big game but we can't stick to it. We'll say something like, oh, I would never support this scam, and then we'll justify it with, well, it's just one skin. Just this once. Does this sound familiar to you? Kinda like the the no pre-orders people who pre-order Battlefield immediately after playing the beta. And then we've got the casual. This is the group of gamers who just don't care, like at all, about skins, microtransactions, battle passes, any of it. They're not mad about it and they're not defending it in the comments sections. They just play the game without really thinking about skins. And boy, do I wish I had that same way of thinking. Now that those three big categories have been explained, it tells you that these three groups all have a very different view on microtransactions. Now, categories aside, let's quickly talk about the other factors that influence the opinions on microtransactions. The big elephant in the room is that it really does matter, and it is dependent on when you grew up. If you're an older gamer, you remember when a game was like $60 and you got the whole damn thing. No battle passes, no skins, no crazy cosmetics. So naturally, you'll likely see microtransactions as greedy and unnecessary. But of course, there's always going to be those few people who just don't see it that way. But if you grew up on something like Fortnite, microtransactions are just part of the ecosystem. At that point, what would you really know about $60 games without constant cosmetic switching in and out of the game store? Let's put this in a perspective that'll make us feel old. Fortnite is getting to the 10-year mark since its release, so it would be fair to say that if you were born in, let's say, 2009 and started gaming at the age of 8, you would have just started gaming during Fortnite's release. You would most likely be 15 or 16 at the time that this video is released. That's only 2 more years until you're a legal adult. Those people are going to be adults who never really experienced the time before battle passes and $20 skins came to popularity, meaning that they'll have a completely shifted opinion on microtransactions that we older gamers don't agree with. Let that sink in. Thank you. I'll keep this short since this is kind of like a rant in a way, but other influences increase prices of cosmetics, whether the game is free to play or not, whether it's pay to win, like GTA Online shark cards, and etc. So at the end of the day, gamers can't agree on microtransactions because we're all coming at it from a completely different angle. You've got the cosmetic collectors buying everything, you got the hypocrites talking tough but still, of course, caving into it, and then you have the casuals who just couldn't care less. Then you layer on top of the generational divide, financial situations, how much someone actually plays, and whether or not they trust the developers, and suddenly you realize there's no way everyone's ever landing on the same page. And unfortunately, that's the sad truth. Microtransactions, they're not going anywhere, especially battle passes and $20 bundles. Because no matter how loud we complain, somebody's always gonna buy. Which means, the debate will just keep spinning in circles forever. So yeah, gamers will never agree on microtransactions, and honestly, arguing about it is, that's half the game at this point. The other half? Convincing yourself that your family doesn't really need dinner tonight when there's some shiny new bundles waiting in the store. Listen, you gotta go buy those bundles, your family can wait. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.